switch it up like that.
Switch it up, speaker box blast, 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 blast.
You can switch it up like that.
Switch it up, speaker box blast. Go, 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 go.
Alright, you guys. So, I'm doing this special episode about significant others because I know my last episode absolutely positively made no sense. So, I'm gonna redo it. Might delete that one. Maybe not. Don't know yet. So, I'm Genesis, your lovely host, and this is the Teens with Lupus Podcast. So, we're gonna do something a little different today because it's a special episode on significant others. So, I'm still gonna give you a song of the day, and it's actually related to this topic. So I'm gonna give you a song of the day, but then I'm still gonna split the episodes into parts, but then I'm going to review the 4 interviews that I did with 4 different people. I gave them all the same situation, and I'm basically just going to tell them the answers. So, let's get started. Alright, so the song of the day is Set Fire to the Rain by Adele. It doesn't really have anything to do with health, but it does have to do with relationships. So, it's basically about how, I guess Adele was with this guy, and then he, was lying to her, and she thought he was the one, and she felt safe with him, but then, he just played her, and she didn't like that. She is angry. Very angry and sad and angry, and I feel like, when you have lupus and you have a significant other, then, it's hard with that. It's hard, and sometimes you say, they're going to be there for you. They say they're going to be there for you, and they're not, and then they just leave, and you just want to, set fire to the rain. So, that's the song of the day today by Adele. So, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to break these interviews up into, I'm going to say I'm going to give you 2 of the answers on this one and then 2 of the answers on the other one. First, I'm going to introduce the people and tell you who they are to me, and then I'm going to tell you the answers to the questions I gave them, and I'm going to tell you the scenario as well. So, let's start with the scenario. So, scenario was that they were going out that we've been dating for 3 months, and I decide to tell them that I have lupus nephritis, and I have to explain it to them, right? Gotta explain to them. And so that was the first question, but that's the scenario. We've been dating for 3 months, and I decided to tell them. And so that was the first question. How do they react to me telling them after we've been dating? The second question was, what if I told you at the beginning of our relationship? So that was the second question. Third question was, if I was in the hospital for a month, would you be super duper worried about me, like I was still in emergency or in urgent care, or would you kind of have a fight or flight response? So would you keep checking up on me, or would you eventually stop checking in on me, sending me flowers, cookies, puppies, all that good stuff? That was the third question. Fourth question was, if we lived together, how would you deal with my condition on a daily basis? So that was the fourth question. So those are the questions in the scenario. They're all going out with me. So I'm going to introduce the first 2 people. So the first 2 people that I interviewed were Kelsey. not Kelsey. Kenzie and DeAndre. So Kenzie, I met her at Envision PDX, and we kind of had this ongoing joke between us that we're quote unquote dating, even though we're really not. We're both straight, so it's kind of a joke that we have going on. But anyway, she's sort of my girlfriend, and then I've known her for not even a year. I've known her for a couple months, and we've gotten pretty close, I think. So yeah, DeAndre, I used to go to school with DeAndre. We went to school through about middle school, then he left and went to a different high school than the high school that we were going to go to. And I also know him through SEI, so we go to SEI together and we're in the same grade, so he's cool. They're both pretty good friends of mine, I think. So now I'm going to tell you their answers to the questions. So question number 1, Kenzie, well, I kind of asked Kenzie different questions, but they're along the same lines. So Kenzie said that when I told her that I had lupus, how it came up is, I told her that I was in chemo for 6 months, and they started freaking out, and she started freaking out thinking I had a cancer, but I had to explain to her, no, this is what I have. And so she said at first, she had to look it up because she didn't know exactly what she was dealing with here, because I'm me. And so she had to look it up, and she said that at first she felt sad for me. She felt sad, right? She felt sad, but then she realized that she did not want to pity me, and that I didn't need her pity. And yeah, that was her answer to the first question. So the second question, what if I told you at the beginning? She said that she probably would have reacted way differently. Not at the beginning, actually. I did tell her at the beginning. I asked her what if I told her later? She said she most likely would have reacted differently, because then we'd be a little more closer, and she wouldn't know how to, because now she sees me in a different light, right? So she wouldn't know what to do. And yeah, so those were her answers. I thought they were pretty valid answers. I really like how each of these answers are honest. So that was cool. Third question, would she be worried about me, like super duper worried about me the whole month I was in the hospital? She said that it would, well, she'd still be worried, right? But it would be my decision whether or not she would come up and visit me, because she knows how people feel. It's because she volunteers in hospital, so she knows how people feel and how people want their space in the hospital, especially me, because I don't like a crowded hospital room. Who does, right? So, she said based on how I would feel, she would come and visit, which I thought was an amazing answer, because, she cares about how I feel, but of course, she'd be super worried about me. Last question, if we lived together, how would she deal with it? And, she says she doesn't really know, but she would have to do what is necessary. So, that was her answers. I thought they were all pretty good answers overall. So she's one person I trust telling her that. So, on to DeAndre. So, DeAndre, first, I thought this was kind of a funny answer. For the first question, he said that he would be upset if I told him, like, after 3 months of dating, because he didn't tell me why, but I'm guessing it's because kind of a trust issue thing. I'm assuming. I didn't ask him because I didn't want to push it because we got into this whole other conversation and it was kind of weird. So, yeah, I'm guessing kind of a trust thing. So he would prefer me to tell him at the beginning of the relationship. Then he probably would have reacted a lot better. For the third question, he said that he would do what he can to come and see me still, but he would still be super worried about me. He didn't really go in depth with that type of answer, but it's okay. He's a man of few words, and he's pretty great. Last question, basically same thing as Kenzie. Don't know what to do because doesn't know exactly what that entails, living with me. And then I told him what I live with on a daily basis, and he didn't really answer that question. Kind of suspicious, but it's okay. He didn't have to answer that question. It's completely fine. So, that's part 1 of our special Significant Others Teens with Lupus podcast. And part 2, I'm going to tell you about Justin and Jared. And Jared's answers were super duper long. So, yeah, so I'm going to see you in part 2, and we're going to talk about this other stuff, and then I have some announcements which I probably should have said in this one, but that is okay. So we're going to see you in part 2.